David White says, how often do we have to break the seasonal promise in order to return to the eternal vow? So I'd like to talk about the difference between vow and promise. Promise is something that often comes from fear, hope. It can be ego's way of feeling in charge. It's an ego's way of planning. We promise things because we are not quite aware that situations can change, and that means your promise will no longer be valid. It will not be any more applicable to your life, because promise is often situational. We promise to live happily ever after with another human being, and life happens, and one morning you wake up and that promise no longer feels relevant. It's based on our wishes, ego's fantasy. Like, I lived that myself many times. My love life was one big fantasy land. I said yes many times just because I thought that things would change. I can change him, he will change his mind. I just didn't have the courage to express my true desire, my true needs and wants that were based on my essence. So vow is really your postulate. If you think of your postulate, your reason for being on the planet, it's not an easy thing to know, but you know your true self enough to know the frequency, the difference between an eternal vow and a temporary promise, and where that comes from inside of you, right? So vow is really like a different posture. You can think about it as a posture. I recently went to Hawaii and I got baptized in the ocean, and we tend to think that these big rituals will change our life overnight. It's not like that. You get married, your life doesn't get better. You enter a different agreement with life, different agreement with your spirit and soul. It's a beginning step. It's not the final step. So my baptism was committing to a new posture, committing to a new way of showing up, so that I can do the work that I came here to do. So the vow is really your way of saying yes to yourself, saying yes to homecoming, saying yes to the commitment, the level of commitment that you're ready for. And when you do that, you no longer make promises, you no longer wish things to be different, because you're in alignment with your vow. And I just ordered an ointment that just came in mail, so I wanted to actually open it while I'm making this video. So this is a part of the retreat that I call She Who Vows, Marry Yourself retreat. Oh my God, this is so pretty. Look at this. I love when a person just honors their offerings, that they care to write a handwritten note. Dearest Rika, many abundant blessings. Wow. So this is an example of how we can self-anoint. I ordered a very special oil that will remind me of my vow. And I absolutely just can't wait to smell it right now. I wish I could have you smell it. But I know it has sacred, ancient, biblical oils. Frankincense, myrrh, spikenard, rosebuds, pomegranate oil, rose of Sharon, all organic, absolutely beautiful. And it has a key. It has a key. Wow. And it has chocolate. Making a vow to the eternal you definitely is more fun with chocolate. Let's see. Wow. So this is when your vow becomes a felt sense. It becomes visceral. It becomes an experience. So when I went to Hawaii, I will never forget how silky the water was right before they put me down under the water before I said my prayer. I never forget the smells that they poured on me, the salt, how it felt on the top of my head. These are all important parts of a ritual. Not because there is some kind of magic in the objects. You hold the magic, but these are the ones that will hold the memory that you can return to, because we forget. So then you can go ahead and self-oint yourself, and this can become a daily practice. We can renew our vow every day, or whenever you feel like you are not in your posture, you're leaning in. Promise is kind of like you lean in, so you leave your center. You stop walking in other person's labyrinth. You leave your own center of your labyrinth and you start wandering out, and sooner than later you end up being in someone else's creation. So this is a way to remember. So I will be going live, and this is my vow, this is not my promise, daily, to talk about the different parts that this process involves and includes. And I hope to see you tomorrow when I dive deeper into the differences between vow and promise. Thanks for being here. Have a beautiful day.